G'day headbangers and welcome to Dazzle Metalworks. Welcome back my fellow metalheads to a very interesting edition of Dazzle Metalworks. You might see some different surroundings. I'm actually at my house this week. Unfortunately I've got some issues with my rotator cuff, so my shoulder's pretty screwed up at the moment. So that's why I'm going like this, and this arm's Blair. But yeah, now I've done all the years, all the way through, as you know. So I'm starting again with the next 10, as I've called it. And some years I've done previously, I've done honourable mentions. Classic example is 1986. I had about 4 or 5 honourable mentions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slightly cheat. I've had this from a few people suggest I do it. Where a classic example would be Ultimate Sin by Ozzy Osbourne in 86. That was in my honourable mentions, along with the Dark by Metal Church. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some of them into my part 2 countdown. It's partly cheating, but I've realised after listening to a lot of these albums that they deserve to be in a proper countdown. So in saying that, I'm going to start off with albums that are going to be 30 years old, 1996. So what I've done, I've told Rex why I've done this one, is I've got the 10 albums, but I haven't really been able to put them in any really order. So it's going to be 11 to 20, but it's not so much in what's my favourite and what's not. It's just a case of the way I've written it down on my sheet. So in saying that, starting off at number 11, we have The Politics of Ecstasy by Nevermore. Now I had a good few listen to this album, and it's actually quite good, so I'm going to have to listen to a lot more Nevermore. But yeah, that's that one. The tracks that stood out for me is The Seven Tongues of God. Then 42147, whatever that's meant to be in reference to, I do not know. And then The Learning. Like I said, this was a really good album, listening to it, and I want to listen to some more Nevermore. But yeah, anyway, at number 12 we have Skunk Works by Bruce Dickinson. Yes, Brucey boy. Now, all of us who are Dickinson fans, I'm not speaking for them, but from me, this is his worst album ever. It's just a piece of shit. I love the title, Skunk Works, named after the aircraft place Skunk Works, which is great. The whole album was really disappointing, but it's still Bruce, so you like it anyway. I know that's an oxymoron, but deal with it. Okay, so we're going to start off with Inertia at number 1 is my top pick, then Head Switch, and then Space Race. So yeah, as I said, I've got that CD. Actually, yeah, recently bought this anyway because I want to get all these CDs anyway. Anyway, moving along, we have Life is Peachy by Korn. Now, the funny thing is, this was the first time I ever listened to this album, and I actually enjoyed it. Korn is a band that I really need to give more of a chance, because I only really listened to Follow the Leader a smidgen when I was younger. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed this album. Korn is very bass-orientated, seriously, but I love it. So we'll sit, top tracks for me were Lost, Swallow, and Arse Itch, which I thought, what an odd name for a song, but anyway, there you go. Right, moving along next, we have Predator by Accept. Now this is the first time I listened to this album as well, but it was an absolute banger. Because I've always known of Accept, but I never really listened to any of their stuff. This was a good chance to listen to it, and it was pretty good. So I'll start off with Making Me Scream is at number 1, Digging in the Dirt at number 2, and Crucified at number 3. This is another band that going into all these next lot of rounds of albums that I can listen to more of their stuff as well. The next one, we also have another one I have here, Def Leppard with their album Slang. Now this is like the Bruce Dickinson album next to it. It's probably one of their worst albums, to be honest. I mean, it's okay, but this is obviously we're going through the era like in the 90s when the grunge was coming through, that everyone wanted to try a bit of a different sound. They did, and they failed. So That's why this album sucked, but the album after that was fantastic. So there you go. But look, it had the odd couple of tracks that were decent, which is Slang, title track, Gift of Flesh, and Pearl of Euphoria. It's Def Leppard. It's another one of those bands that I've always liked, always will. Just because some of their albums are crappier than others, doesn't matter. There's a lot of bands like that in my catalogue. Will always be like that. So yeah. Anyway, next one we have Stuck Mojo with their album Pig Walk. Now I've liked Stuck Mojo for plenty of years. Even Rex has heard the odd bit of Stuck Mojo. Look, Pig Walk, first time I listened to this album, and it was a banger. It was fantastic, loved it. So yeah, Top Tree, well actually what I've got here is I've got a few tracks. I've got Mental Meltdown at number 1, Down Breeding at number 2, Twisted at number 3, and an honourable mention to Here Comes the Monster. But yeah, I was really impressed with that album. Again, another band, I'm going to listen to a lot more of this stuff as I go along. Okay, next we have King Diamond with their album The Graveyard. Yeah, heard a bit more about this album, about what it's about and stuff, and yeah, King Diamond doing his usual weird freaking shit, seriously, but interesting cover, his classic horror orientated thing. You know, what do we expect from King Diamond? But look, I'm Not a Stranger was at number 1, Lucy Forever at number 2, and Black Hills Sanitarium at number 3. King Diamond is one of these bands where, look, Abigail is my favourite album of all time, and then the album Them. But yeah, I need to sit down and really try and get into some of the other stuff. That's a work in progress as well, I guess. Now, sticking with King Diamond, we have Merciful Fate and their album Into the Unknown. I was actually quite amazed that King Diamond released 2 albums that year, one as King Diamond and one as Merciful Fate. So go figure. Love your work, dude. Good work ethic there. So yeah, Holy War, I think, was that one. Cthulhu, The Mad Arab Part 2, and The Uninvited Guest at number 3. Merciful Fate, again, like King Diamond, got a couple of favourite albums, and then it's need to listen to the rest. Okay, next we have Sacred Reich and their album Heal. This is the first time I listened to this album. I mean, I've heard of Sacred Reich over the years, but this gave me a chance to listen to some of the music, and this album was really, really good. So again, another band, need to dip into their catalogue and see what other stuff they've got, because they're pretty sweet. And rounding out, at number 20, we have Slayer with their album Undisputed Attitude. Now, this is one of those Slayer albums that wasn't a huge hit. I actually had the t-shirt years ago of it, which was quite interesting. But yeah, not a huge fan of this album. To me, Slayer had their best era, like most metal bands, was in the 80s, and then it's like hit and miss afterwards. But it's Slayer, so you still love them no matter how good or bad the album is. So at number 1 we have, if I can read it, I Hate You, Mr. Freeze, Double D Damn, I think it's called, Abolished Government, Superficial Love. So a bit hard to read that. My writing shocking and small. So yeah, but anyway, that's this week's countdown. Excuse me, got one of my cats next to me. Now, in memorial this week, my friends. This one was a big one for me. Now, I loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel when it was on TV in the 90s and early noughties, whenever it was. Anthony Stewart Head, who played Giles in both series, passed away. And I was gutted. My friend Mandy told me the news this morning, and it hit pretty hard, because that in the space of less than 18 months, we have lost Michelle Trachtenberg, who played Dawn, Nicholas Brennan, who played Xander, and now Anthony Stewart Head, who played Giles. 3 big characters from the Buffy TV series have all passed away the past year and a half. So that really sucks in a massive way. So yeah, rest in peace, Giles. You were a fantastic character. Loved your character, Anthony Stewart. So rest in peace. And until next week, my friends, Mosh on.